You found the STIHL National Championship Air Races presented by Reno-Tahoe.
Ready to get going with some sport racing here. Sport medallion class. We're going to do that medallion out today. We got our field ready to go. 7 airplanes getting into the air, and it's a different sort of format for sport in this particular class of sport, the medallion level.
That's very true, Tommy. This is going to be exciting to see. These are folks that have qualified anywhere from 200 to 230 miles an hour in this class. You see a mix of Vans RV type aircraft here. You see in race 101, General Lee, that's a Vans RV-7 Lee Ulrich. In those aircraft, along with some of the other, we've got an F1 rocket, Harmon rockets. We've got a few more Vans RV-4s, RV-8s. And Tommy, we're going to fly the medallion class. So we'll talk about the course here in a minute. It's a little unique in this class as well.
Timothy Slater is going to be race number 10. Practice is the name of that one, the Harmon rocket. Going to be Poplar Grove, Illinois.
And in our fourth qualifying position, race 314, Scott Pruitt out of King City, California, in what he calls the Phantom rocket. That's an F1 rocket.
Oh, that's Tommy Ishii.
Tommy Ishii, my bad,
they swapped on us there.
744.
Yeah.
The Millennial Falcon Vans RV-8.
There's 777. Matt Ramsey from Lake Tahoe, just across the border there.
Guardian Angel, beautiful paint scheme. And here's a Vans RV-4. Tail dragger versus tricycle gear. Johnny Painter, race 150. He calls it the Bear Dog. White with some red markings on it.
Livingston, Texas, just north of Houston.
So these are part of the overall sport class, which contains the fastest home-built aircraft in the world, Tommy. Relaxed limitations in the class overall allows for innovation. The fastest sport airplanes will fly up to 400 miles an hour. This class a little bit slower, but the sport class overall, they fly the 8-mile course for the gold. In this case, we're going to fly that 8-mile course one time on the first lap. Then we're going to fly our middle size course, our 5-mile T6 class, for the remainder of the laps. So it's a combination in this medallion class, and that's the difference between here and our bigger portions of the sport class. But they speeds in this class are going to be around 230, 240 miles an hour as they go around. Now the medallion, they're going to air start just like the other portions of the class. You see that here. They're going to form up on the pace plane, and they will come down the chute just like the other classes. The pace plane you see there in red. The other aircraft will have to stay in their lanes all the way to the guide pylon. Again, that first lap is our larger 8-mile course, and they have to stay in the lane till they get to the guide pylon right there, Tommy, and they can then turn for position. Here you see a great shot out of a previous race here in the sport class, going around the pylons, what it looks like to be doing 250 miles an hour, 50 feet off the deck here in Reno. These aircraft pull 2 to 3 Gs, 2 to 3 times the force of gravity in these aircraft at those speeds going around the pylons. And they are really very, very competitive in this class. I saw some of them run early in the week in a heat race, and they were very, very closely matched. And so the ones we just saw take off with all the Vans RV family of aircraft, along with the F1 rocket and the Harmon rocket, this should be a very, very competitive class that we get to see here in just a minute, Tommy.
This is sort of, you've mentioned it many, many times, this is sort of the laboratory for innovation in racing aircraft here. And we're going to see lots of different sorts of ways to make airplanes go faster, new ways being employed and really real-world tested out here under the most strenuous circumstances.
And the aircraft we see in the medallion class, Tommy, are very much what you would see out of a home-built aircraft grouping. And this year, the Vans family of RV aircraft, this is the 50th anniversary, if you can believe that already, for the Vans family of aircraft. And we have quite a few of those in this field. In fact, we have 5 of the 7. There's our grandstands, and shortly we should see those racers appear kind of right behind the...
You heard the announcement. You have a race. They are lined up, and they have given them the go-ahead to descend on this track for this first long lap.
And here they come, Tommy. We are racing medallion sport. here in 2022, the Reno National Championship Air Races, and there they're popping into view. We can see them there as they're dropping into the course, crossing the runways here, and they are headed down towards the guide pylon. Now don't forget, they've got to stay in their lane until they get to the guide pylon before they can turn in front of each other, but they certainly can accelerate, and you can see some of that, the competitors that have gotten a jump on some of their other aircraft there. And there you see descending into the foothills as they head northbound towards the guide pylon. You'll see that come into view here in just a second. In the bottom left portion of your screen, there'll be some bright lights there on the foothills that are going to come on. There you see them right there, Tommy. That is the guide pylon. Now they can start that turn as they continue to head north. Pylons 4, 5, and 6 on our largest 8-mile course as they head. And you can see, look at the visibility, how much better it is today than what we've dealt with all week. We got that smoke out of here, and we are racing on Championship Sunday, Tommy.
Front was able to get an idea on our first two planes. We assume it's probably the top two qualifiers, race 80 Skylar Piper and race 101 Lee Ulrich, and Miss Ruby in the general lead.
There's a good shot at the different strategies that are at play here. You see some of the aircraft are staying fairly high, trying to maintain that speed and altitude they had coming through the foothills. Others of them have dropped down into the north end of the Lemon Valley here to get down low, and then now they're headed southbound in the Valley of Speed. This is really the only time that this class gets to zip down the Valley of Speed on the larger course. And when they make these turns here, as they come through pylons 7, 8, and 9 on our larger course, you can see them coming by our pylon cam. They finished that first lap of that larger lap, and now they're going to finish the rest of their laps on our medium course, our 5-mile, what is normally our T6 course. Once they come by the steel home pylon here, you see our leading competitors coming by, and we will see them then begin to turn and follow the 5-mile T6 course from here forward, Tommy. That completes lap 1. We're just starting lap 2 with our leaders.
Here's our third and fourth place as it stands right now. Out front, we've got race 80 and race 101. And there they are right there with race 1, the red, white, and gray airplane. That's race 80, Skylar Piper in the lead, and right behind Lee Ulrich in the general lead.
Yeah, and the general lead's beginning to make a move there, Tommy. I noticed as they went around past the home pylon there and now headed down the backstretch of this T6 5-mile course. General Lee really was starting to make a move on, and there they look like they've kind of paced out. So Skylar probably really got settled in, got everything up to speed and up to oil. There you see great shots of our competitors back, but now we're back to the lead. You see Skylar Piper and Lee Ulrich as they come back around pylons 4, and then the 7, 8, and 9 on this T6 course. They're finishing. You can see some beautiful shots there at the valley, the south end of the Valley of Speed. But here's our two leaders coming back to the start-finish line, and it looks like the General Lee on the left side of your screen's making a move, Tommy. He's getting out in front. It's going to be side by side going by the start-finish line. Now he has to pass on the outside. It's going to be tough here in these next few pylons.
Headed into lap number 3 of 8 total laps for the Sport Medallion race. Good race out front.
It looks like the General Lee and Lee Ulrich has been able to hold on, but again, he's taking the longer way around, so he doesn't quite have the same advantage that she does on the inside, so he's got to keep it up, but he's been able to stay at least abreast with her all the way around. But Skylar Piper with the inside track in race 80 is able to make hold the position, if you will. But as they go down the backstretch, Tommy, look at that. It is side by side, neck and neck racing here at the National Championship Air Races. 2 California planes. Skylar Piper from Palos Verdes Estates in California, and from Rio Linda, Lee Ulrich in the general lead. One on top. Watch this as they come by our pylon cam. Hear those beautiful motors singing as they go by. It looks like Lee is beginning to just slowly, inch by inch, he's getting a little bit of an advantage around that outside. But Skylar again has the shorter course, so she has less distance to travel, and he's really having to work. But now look at it as they come wings level. Lee's able to accelerate and move forward in his Vans RV7 and the beautiful Civil airplane there. And now he's going to be able to turn. Now he can't quite see over his shoulder very well, so he's not going to be able to cut down tight until he gets a little farther around and he's recognizing, okay, I'm in front, and he can pull down and turn in front of Skylar for to seal up that lead.
There it is, race 101. Advanced RV7.
What a great shot of his airplane. We got a good competitive race back here at 4th and 5th. going, look at this as they come to the steel home pylon. We've got a pass going on the outside, but again, we got the same situation. The red and silver airplane on the inside's got the shorter track. Let's see if we can hold that pass and see how far we get around. It looks like from that camera angle, it looks like it's out in front, and I believe they have made the pass as they go through those brown pylon 2 and 3 here on our 5-mile T6 course. So what a pass that happened there.
The green and yellow airplane, that's race 777. Matt Ramsey passing Tommy Ishii.
And you think about Matt has come all the way from the 6th qualifying position to move up now, and he is moved into 4th place.
Currently in 4th, yeah, Ishii in 5th.
Let's jump back to the leader in Lee Ulrich, race 101. He jumped out front, and he's now pulling away slowly. So he's been a little bit faster, and it took him a little bit to get around Piper, or excuse me, Skylar Piper. But now he is headed down to hold that lead and just flying a very solid, consistent race here, Tommy.
More than halfway through, well over halfway through for Lee Ulrich. The general lead, Skylar Piper holding in 2nd place as it stands right now. Then Miss Ruby S, race 80.
A missing man formation, current wind is 29006. It was gusting up to 10. You need to be taken.
There you see a great shot as he heads around the 3 pylons in the west end of our 5-mile T6 course. Here he comes over your pylon cam. Just a nice, beautiful line that he's flying. He's flying a little bit above the 50-foot minimum altitude just to give himself a little buffer, because being out front, you don't want to make a mistake and cut a pylon, have that penalty assessed, and then possibly lose here on Championship Sunday, lose what you earned by flying so well. So Lee is doing a great job of being very consistent, and here he comes by the steel start-finish line and the home pylon, and you see him roll back in around pylons 1, 2, and 3 here on the east end of the course.
Got about a 4 to 5 second lead over 2nd place, race 80. As it stands right now, very comfortable spot, as you mentioned, Ron.
And there we have an unregistered competitor headed down there, but that actually is just a trick shot from the camera. But everybody's a fan here. Even the local bird life has come out to watch these amazing national championship air races here. And here we go. There's our leader, but let's jump back to 4th and 5th. You get back to look and see where Ishii and Ramsey are. And Ramsey was now got past earlier, and look at that. He's got the inside track, and looks like he's making a move back around the inside again. So that's Ishii on the inside, and Ramsey trying to get around him in the yellow airplane from the outside, and it looked like he was going to get him there, but now as they're coming back towards the start-finish line, look at that. Ramsey's got a head of steam up in race 777. Let's see if he can get around him here on 1, 2, and 3. Now our leader is just about caught him, Tommy. There's race 101 and Lee Ulrich.
He's lapped him.
He's just about to catch him.
Yeah.
They head into pylons 1, 2, and 3. He's got a little bit of speed on him. Those two are still battling for 4th and 5th, and Lee Ulrich is overtaking them by, I'd say, a good 20 knots or more. And you see that great shot. You see him up high. So he's going to have to pass on the outside, but he's going to be able to hold that line and get around him. There he comes around Ishii right there. And as they head down the backstretch, if you will, he's going to zip right by Ramsey in race 777. So our leader's now lapping part of the field. Tommy, we're on lap 7. Next time by, we should get the white flag.
Lee Ulrich, the 2nd place qualifier, actually qualified 9 miles an hour slower than race number 80, but certainly has found something today and has made all the right moves, obviously.
And you see here the Vans RV7 silver paint scheme on it. Great view of him as he comes by to capture the white flag now for our leader as he passes the steel start-finish line. One more time around. 5 miles, just a little under 5 miles to go now for Lee Ulrich, Tommy.
Again, you're watching the Sport Class Medallion class race right here. We'll have Sport Gold for you later today. But hats off to these competitors. They've worked hard all week long and all year long to get here in this position today.
Yeah, Lee Ulrich continues to finish his final lap as he heads around the final 3 pylons on the far west end of our course.
boy, that battle for fourth rages on. It has been cat and mouse back and forth between Tommy Ishii and Matt Ramsey. Ramsey with the lead right now. Back to our leader, Lee Ulrich.
And there he comes, finishing around pylon. Far west end, he's got just a few more degrees to finish that last turn, Tommy, and he's going to roll wings level and head home to the STIHL start-finish line, the home pylon, and he's going to be our new Sport Medallion champion here at 2022 Reno. Look at this finish. What a great job by Lee Ulrich.
Ulrich can count this as a success, his visit to the Reno National Championship Air Races 2022. And again, this race for fourth place, man, it just tighter and tighter. Every time we check back in with it, Matt Ramsey had the lead, but Tommy Ishii right on his trail.
Yeah, well, look there. You see Ramsey in race 777 still got a little bit, but Ishii's giving him a run for it. They're coming to the finish. Can he do it? Can he do it? He's coming. Oh, my goodness.
I think Ramsey held him off. He's going to be your fourth place finisher.
But I'll tell you what, Tommy Ishii sure gave it a go. I think if he'd had another pylon or two to go, he'd have finally caught him. He gave it all he had here on Sunday. And that's what happens here on Sunday at Reno, Tommy's. It's all on the table. It's all on the lap. So let's go back and look at the start here. This is the aircraft coming down the chute, staying in their lanes, headed for the guide pylon, and then here they are on the far north end of our largest course. Remember, the first lap they fly around the 8-mile course. Pylons 4, 5, and 6 of that course on the far north end, and then you see them head down the Valley of Speed for the first time, and they get to fly that one time in this class, and then they finish the remainder of their 7 laps, Tommy, on our middle-sized or our T6 5-mile course. We initially had a really good battle between Skylar Piper and Lee Ulrich. Lee, our second place qualifier, took him a little bit to get by her, but here you see as they come by the guide pylon, the home pylon, excuse me, Lee's up and outside of Skylar. She had the shorter course around the pylon, so it took him a little bit to get by, but he did have some speed on her, and eventually he was able to make the pass. And here you see him headed down the back stretch once he got out in the lead, and once he got there, he just picked him up, put him down, stayed out in front, and eventually lapped the back end of the field. But here was our battle back in, the story behind the story. Position 4 and 5 between Tommy Ishii and Matt Ramsey, and those two aircraft fought it out the entire race. I bet you those guys are wiped out once they land. They was neck and neck, shoulder to shoulder racing. Look at that. Look how close they are, Tom. You could throw a blanket over those two airplanes.
Absolutely. A lot of our guys get out front and they don't know who's behind them and how far. These guys knew where the other one was through this entire race because they could glance and see.
Yeah, and there you saw it. At one point, we had Tommy Ishii had the inside track, and then Ramsey got in front of him, and that changed, but Ishii made a run on him back again. And we had to get back to the final lap. Here you can see these two passing slower traffic, and there's our leader coming back to the checkered flag here, Tommy. Lee Ulrich, congratulations to him as he takes the checkered flag. He's finishing the last couple turns here, and he's going to get to finish and be our Sport Medallion champion. Here's the unofficial results.
Yeah, Lee Ulrich, unofficially your winner, race 101, the General Lee. Skylar Piper started as the top qualifier, race 80, finishes second place with Miss Ruby S. Timothy Slater, race 10, practice in third. Matt Ramsey closing out Tommy Ishii for that coveted fourth place spot. They raced very, very hard for that race 77. Matt Ramsey and Guardian Angel and Tommy Ishii, race 744 in the Millennium Falcon, believe it or not. Johnny Painter 150, race 150. Bear Dog and Scott Pruitt, race 314, the Phantom Rocket in 7th place.